Hello friends. So today this is our 10th lecture and the last lecture on Dr. Johnson's Preface to Shakespeare. So we have been discussing. At the beginning we saw all the virtues. He is a poet of nature, and then we saw a lot of number of so-called faults, or you can say that brave disorders. And as you can see, the faults are a piece with virtues. So that is the conclusion actually. The conclusion that has been reached by Dr. Johnson is this. After enumerating, giving a list of about 37 faults or brave disorders. So we continue. In the last class we saw it is all about Hamlet criticism. You remember Hamlet, and also some general observations. So today we continue with the general observations. He says 26th. The 26th point is, according to Dr. Johnson, is that he says his catastrophe is improbably produced. Catastrophe means the last part, that is the tragic end, is improbably produced and imperfectly represented. And especially you can see now, the other day also we said about Hamlet. So, about catastrophe. Catastrophe is imperfect and improbable, he says. That is about his tragedies, he says. One of the examples that we can give is, if we want to give, that is Hamlet. Where we saw now that the exchange of the swords, weapons, so to say. That was not, according to Johnson, done with a dramatic purpose. Dramatically, we don't feel that it has a dramatic element in it. So that is the 26th point that we can consider. And 27th, of course, everybody says this about Shakespeare. That is, he has no regard for distinction of time, place, and even ages or nation. Without he says customs, mixing, without any scruple. He has absolutely no scruples for mixing customs and institutions and opinions of another at the expense of not only of likelihood but of possibility. See, he doesn't bother at all. He says, there is no distinction of time and place. Everybody says like this. No? All the critics say like this. But as we can see, what does Dr. Johnson even himself defends it early, saying that you are not going there to see a reality there, but you are going to see something that is conceivable. So if you can conceive that the stage is, and the character standing there, not the actual premise, but this is not the actual Macbeth, then you can also think that you should also be in a position to imagine that that place is a forest or a palace and things like that. But this is one of the observations that is made. So no regard or distinction of time and place, or age, or nation, that is. And without any scruples, he doesn't bother what the reader response is. That is very interesting though. We are now talking about reader response and so on, their assessment, who is bothered about it. This is a piece of art. If you want to take it, if you don't want, leave it. So that is the attitude of. So what did we say? 27. We will say without any scruple, he mixes almost everything. Nationality, then customs and so on. So he has no scruples in mixing himself. No scruples. No scruples in mixing in time and place, in overlapping, none of those things. Understand? And of course, the 28th is, we have seen this in an earlier discussion, that is, he says, his comic characters, he says. His comic scenes are commonly gross. See? Neither his gentlemen nor his ladies have have any delicacy. That's the thing. His gentlemen and his gentle ladies have no delicacy, not sufficiently distinguished from his clowns. That's it. So no distinction, you can say. No scruples, now here is a no distinction is made. What? Between whom? Gentlemen and the ladies and clowns. Clowns and the ladies and gentlemen. Isn't it? Ladies and men. So they are gross and they all of them speak sometimes the same language. That is 28. 29 says that's about again. I think in an earlier class we have discussed this, but we are summing up therefore. Says, where there is in tragedy, his performance seems worse, he says. At other times he says, his words are at peace with his pursuit. So in certain times what happens, he uses such words. Who? Dr. Johnson. Tragedy, his performance seems worse. There is straining. When he strains, there is tumor, there is meanness, there is obscurity and tediousness. His tragic scenes are very terribly labored and strange. So what happens is that strain passes on to the audience. And the audience also becomes tedious. And there is obscurity. So he says, tragedy, 29 you can say, is tragedies. Tragedies strained. Or tragic scenes, not tragedies you can say, tragic scenes. Not all, so some tragic scenes you can say. His tragic scenes are strained and so it's labored and so it's tedious. And then at 30 you can say, point is, see what happens is, he says, the narration in dramatic word, narration, there is sometimes you will find the long speeches. This is one of the reasons why Dryden attacked the French drama. They have long set speeches like that of Marlowe. If you have read Marlowe's earlier tragedies like Tamburlaine, Joe of Malta, Tamburlaine part 1 and 2 and so on, you will find that long set speeches is called. So later on you can see that becomes a kind of, that is, it is pruned and then he will find the soliloquies and the asides instead of that. So these narrations, his narration in dramatic poetry is itself is, you can see it is tedious, naturally tedious. But when it is no life, unanimated and inactive, the character stands and says like that. See, you must have seen the actors John Gielgud and other characters, acting as other actors acting as this Hamlet and so on. You will find. You have seen the picture and also the videos and so on. You must have seen. They practically they don't move. They stand there and that is what is expected of them. They stand there and then they go on exposing their minds. Understand? So naturally what happens when there is no action, always as you can see the eyes are attracted by moving objects. That's why you have seen some teachers, they move like this way and also this way like this. But you will find that maybe one of the reasons. But if you find that they are just standing like a statue and then go on talking like this, then what happens is your eyes will get tired. But moving means your eyes also will be moving. So this is one of the, I think, a kind of moderate movements in the class by teacher is attractive. See that? Whether I am moderate or whether I am standing as a statue, you can assess that. See, and if you would like to communicate that to me, I will be very happy. Should I move faster in the class? A race like this? No, you don't expect that. That I think, isn't it? Yes. So he says, narration in dramatic poetry is naturally tedious, yes, unanimated, inactive, but he affects a disproportionate poem of diction. and where some circumlocution, a roundabout way of saying, imperfectly in many words, where brevity and dignity we expect. So, by its very nature, a set speech is dull. See? But suppose it is filled with pompous words and also circumlocutions and so on. You can go through these the soliloquies of in Hamlet and in Macbeth and so on. You can see that. Some days what happens, unnecessary conceits come in. We think that it is unnecessary, but Shakespeare doesn't think so. So who are we to judge that? And I am not in any way qualified to judge, or I am not in any way, I don't have any such power to judge whether the soliloquies are dull or not. I am not the person to say like that. I am just only narrating, because what is my knowledge after all? And I am just giving you the points one after another given by Dr. Johnson, who is an authority. So what will you say about that point 30? 30 we will say that narrations in dramatic poetry. Narrations in dramatic poetry is dull. By nature it is dull, and when it is accompanied by bombastic words and so on, it looks more dull, and also circumlocution instead of brevity. Brevity is the soul of wit. Bacon has said. Brevity is the soul. Prolixity of style, you can say. Prolixity means going around and talking like this. No, that is prolixity of style. Understand? And then you have, so 30, isn't it? 30. And you have got a direct hit on, this is narrations, then here is a direct hit, his declamations are commonly cold and weak. So that is almost the same thing. So you can say 31, his declamations. Declamations are cold. Means not passionate enough. See how all occasions do inform against me. Act 4, scene 5 of Hamlet, you can say. That is an example. That is, some authors have quoted as an example. I think it is Dr. Johnson was cold and weak. See that explanation and so on. And now 32, you can see, because this is self-explanatory, that's why I do not want to tell. You can go through that. Act 4, scene 5 in Hamlet. Then he says that he is entangled with unwieldy statements and sentiments. Means, sometimes we say, I have got ideas but I cannot express. I have got emotion but I cannot express. Something like that. So he is entangled with the unwieldy sentiments. He cannot well express the experience. The language is not enough. The language used by Shakespeare is not enough to express his sentiment. So we can say inability to express sentiments. Inability to express sentiments. That is point 32. And 33, you can see, his conceits are idle. We have already seen contemptible equivocations, he says. So 33, conceits and equivocations. Equivocations mean double meaning. As you can see, fair is foul and foul is fair and so on. Of course, that has got a dramatic, there's a dramatic significance in that. But then he points out a point where, a place where, say in the Merchant of Venice, Act 3, Scene 5, lines 37 and 42, there is a pun on more and more. Once again, I will give you the reference, you can go through that. Act 3, Scene 5, lines 37 and 42. There is a pun on more and more. It is not, it doesn't explain much. Irrelevant is. Understand? That is. Of course, then the 34, point 34 is his, what is his tragic effects. See, the terror and pity is blasted by sudden frigidity. The terror and pity that is supposed to be say, affected by, so audience should be terror on the stage as well as on the audience. The terror and pity. What happens is that it is blasted by frigidity. Frigidity, you understand what is frigidity. I cold, suddenly. A sudden descending of cold, you can see that way. So the passion supposed to be high voltage crisis, but suddenly it simply vanishes. So this is what happens. See that? And 35, so what will you write here? Point. The point, as a point you can say that is frigidity. Frigidity in passions and so on. Passions and feelings, there is frigidity. The keyword you will be able to remember that, isn't it? Then 35 says, his quibbles engulf him. 35, his quibbles. Speaking about quibbles. Quibbles engulf him. Engulf him. That is, put him in trouble. And there is a famous statement, you remember in his quibbles, he says, a quibble was to him, a quibble was to him the fate of Cleopatra, for which he lost the world and was condemned to lose. So that is about the quibble. A quibble was to him the fate of Cleopatra, for which he lost lost the world and also was condemned to lose it. So that is about his quibbles. And now 36, we are coming to the end of it, because these things are we can say now simple things which you might have already heard all these things, but I'm just summing up. And he says histories, about his history plays. History plays. He says, neither can we call them tragedies, nor can we call them comedies. You cannot call them. There is no unity of action. Neither tragic nor comic. No law of dramatic art. No laws of dramatic art can be applied to Shakespeare's histories. So that I think it is, you will also agree with me. No, not with me, with the Dr. Johnson. Don't agree or disagree with me. Yes. And 37, and the last point says is about, that is, it says unities. Unities of time, brain, action has no regard. We have seen already, is mixing up time, place, and mixing up ages, mixing up customs, and mixing up traditions and cultures, and places, opinions of another person, and things like that. We have seen along with this, you can also consider this time, place, and action. But already we have seen, yes, absolutely no regard for that, but already we have seen that is justification also. Because if you are not going to a theatre for seeing something that is actual, something a reality, so you are imagining that it is a play, it's a story. In that case, you should imagine that the place is Rome. The stage is not Rome, that you know, but you believe that it is Rome. That is willing suspension of disbelief. That is, isn't it? So 37 is that. That is time, place, and action. Time, place, and action. TPA, you can separate like that. So he has no regard for time. So these are the 37 points. Now, as you can see, some points you will find overlapping, but it doesn't matter. You can, but at the same time, there will be some slight differences here and there. Now, for example, when I say mixing of, there's no distinction of time, place, age, customs, and manners, and also there is no regard for time, place, and action. Almost the same, but slight different. Almost the same, but slight different. That is the difference you will find. So that is. So thus we have come to the end of the discussion on Shakespeare's plays, history plays, problem plays, comedies, dark comedies, then we have got tragedies, all those things we have done, and romances, romantic plays, romances and so on we have seen. So everything, we have covered everything. So in fact, when what I would like to suggest is that, if you have got time, you must go through the notes on Shakespeare's plays written by, it's a classic piece. Like Preface is a classic piece. Now when you come to modern critical theory and so on, these things are very irrelevant, you will see. But at the same time, you have to. Tradition and individual talent. So in that case, in this tradition, you should have ideas about tradition also. Understand? When you go through this study, what is actually? It's a kind of, we can say, commentary, rather than a critical theory. Dr. Johnson doesn't bring before us or present before us any critical theory based on a theory. It's a commentary, you can say, isn't it? It's a kind of commentary. So he's like this, he's like that. No, only this. His quibbles, and then his set speeches, his declamations, his soliloquies. So taking one by one. So there is no moral purpose. See, no moral purpose. There is no regard for time, place, and action. I think I have already told you this. And such things. Language is licentious, vulgar, and is obscure. There are conceits. Where there is no need of any conceit, he is using conceits. Where there is no need, there is supposed to be brevity, he is using circumlocution. And that way, if you consider, it's not a, can you say, scientific? Can you say? I don't want to make any judgments because there may be. For one thing, that is not my business here to make judgment on Dr. Johnson's criticism or Dr. Johnson's profession. No. Yeah. So when we conclude, we can say that, see, what is the purpose of this? As Boswell said, his biographer Boswell said, to leave his author better understood. Sorry. To leave his author better understood. That is it. Then, conclusion. He is the great father of English tongue. He is the great father of English tongue. And then, thou art not of an age, but for all time. And he has already claimed the privilege of established fame. With this we come to the end. Whatever you say, 37 points or 50 points, he has already claimed the privilege of established fame. You write it here. He has already claimed the privilege of established fame. So whatever you say, who is bothered about this? But of course, it's an analytic. It's an analysis you can say. See that? When you come there, the two things come to my mind. One is Dryden's statement. You remember now when we were discussing Dryden. What did Dryden say? If unbribed praise of the posterity, that is the test of your genius. The unbribed, if an author can claim the unbribed praise of posterity, that is the test of his time. Before that, Longinus has said, a writer writes for posterity. And if posterity finds, future generations find, unequivocal praise to what has been written, then that is sublime. Definition of sublime. Think of The Wasteland written by T.S. Eliot. 1922 it was published. Now it's a centenary. How many years now? Just 3 years. This is 2022. 2022 it will be centenary. But even now it is being discussed. And nobody says, only a person with a wrong heart, wrong heart and feelings will say that it is not a great poem. It is a quibble, or it is like a sibyl wanting to die. No, not at all. See? So that is a test of posterity. Like that. So you would say that, or as Mathew Arnold says, classic. Arnold, if he had read the Wasteland, he would definitely say it's classic. Isn't it? Whether he had read it or not, we don't know. That we had to check out. So he had already claimed the privilege of established faith. All those sublime creations, all those authors' genius, all those authors whom we consider as genius, they have one or the other way, claimed the privilege of posterity. So herein lies the idea of tradition and the individual talent. Now this is tradition. See, now if you want to prove your individual talent, what have you to do? First you should be directed by this, and then you should try to alter it. Now this is a tradition. Now first you have to be directed by this. Means you imbibe whatever good things you have, you know, or you can from this existing tradition of literature. Then what should you do? You should change the tradition, alter the tradition. So that is the famous statement by T.S. Eliot, no? What is it? The present is directed by the past, and the past is altered by the present. So in the case of Shakespeare, he did that. Isn't it? He, of course, he was influenced by history, the history of literature of that time. But when he left, said goodbye, I changed that. That is individual talent. Bye. Have a nice time. Enjoy your time. Hope that you have been following me. If I have made any mistakes in the commentary of Dr. Johnson, or I myself have erred, some reference and things like that, I hope that you will forgive me, and I apologize for that. Alright? So with this, bye. Have a nice day. Enjoy your